Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are going to be talking about how important your initial setup on your bow is. But before we dive into that, I just want to let you guys know that over on my Instagram, Bergy Bowsmith, I have a giveaway for some unbound strings going on right now. That giveaway is going to be live until February 22nd, 2025. And then next month, we will end up doing another set of giveaways for some Day 6 gear products. Other than that, if you guys are looking for new items or you want to use similar items to what I use on my bow, you can go over to my website, which is bergybowsmith.com, and look through all the products that I carry. If there's something that you are looking for in particular and you don't see it on the website, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. There's a good chance I can get it. I just don't have it listed on the website for you. But without further ado, let's dive into today's video, and that is talking about initial setup of a bow. This is easily one of the most overlooked factors in a bow setup, in my opinion. And the reason for it, I think, is because a lot of people just get excited to shoot their bow. So what they do is they get their new bow, they slap everything together and they start shooting it through paper and they get a tear. And then they start moving things and shifting things just because they're excited to shoot it and they're trying to get this thing dialed in so they can go out to the range and launch some arrows. But we can mitigate the amount of time it takes to tune a bow with a few simple features that every bow does and that everybody can do, as long as you have a press for the most part. So this is my wife's new bow. This is the PSE Evolve DS30. And we just set it up the other day, and I'll be honest with you, it tuned in one shot. That's because I went through the initial setup very, very in depth, and I will give you guys close-ups as I'm walking you through this. But when I say set things down the middle, it seems to confuse a lot of people because middle has, I guess, a lot of different terms, but in my opinion, middle is down the middle of the bow with perfect pre-lean or a neutral lean in your cam system. And how can we figure that out? Not everybody has a drawboard, which if you don't have a drawboard, I would suggest getting it. Some people like to use lasers. I don't like to do that. This is the method that I use, and it's super simple. You can do it at home. Every cam has a mod side, and then usually opposite of that mod side is a flat side of the cam. So all you need is to take an arrow and you line the tip of your arrow up with about your D-loop. Push it up against the flat side of this cam and rotate this upward. And what you should see when you do this is my tip of this arrow is pointed right at the center of this serving. It's pointed right down the middle of this. It's okay if it's slightly off to the side of it, just a little bit. And then we're gonna check that on the top as well. And again, same thing. We're either bisecting right at the D-loop or just on the cam, the shelf side of that string, just barely, but it is bisecting it. What this is doing is this is showing me that these cams are set to a pre-leaned position to where they're loaded properly to when they get to full draw, they'll be perfectly vertical at full draw. You can verify this by setting it up this way and then putting it in a drawboard and verifying how vertically straight those cams are. But 9 out of 10 times with most cam systems, that is going to be the case when I set these cams like this. So that is step one, is just, setting this cam lean perfectly at brace. Now the next thing that I always say is set that arrow rest down the middle, your center shot. Typically, I don't end up measuring my center shots because every bow varies a little bit. And a lot of people are really married to that idea of 13/16. But if you set some bows to 13/16, it won't be the middle of the bow. And you could take 3 different tape measures and get 3 different 13/16 measurements. That's why I set everything down the middle. And how do I do that? All I do is I loosen this rest cord. Let's see if I have my Allen here. I loosen this rest cord, and I'm going to put it into the up position. Going to lift that into the up position, and all I'm going to do, so you can do two methods. You can line this up down your limb bolts, but the limb bolts, it is an accurate way. However, with such a large space from this limb pocket to this limb pocket and trying to use your eyes to line it up, it can be very, very difficult to line that up. So what I like to do for my setups is to just lean this forward, close one eye, and I'm going to take the string and I'm going to line it up with the center of the grip, and then I'm just going to look at the arrow and make sure that that point of that arrow is directly behind my string, perfectly bisecting, telling me that it's coming out of this bow perfectly down the center. When I do this, 9 out of 10 times after nock tuning throughout my tuning process, that bow is ready to go and pretty much shooting bullet holes. Maybe a click or two one way or another, which is just the variance in my eyes being able to see what truly is center. But 9 out of 10 times I don't have to go more than a couple clicks or flipping shims in this, that, and the other thing. The only time I end up having to flip shims is if I'm going through and tuning a bow and I did not set the pre-lean to start with, and I start running them through paper, then I'll get big lefts and rights, and then we end up having to shim. But at the end of the day, when that bow is done, I check cam lean, and it's perfectly bisecting here. So when you set it up this way, you can take a lot of the guesswork out of your tuning process and make sure that you're able to get this bow tuned up and shooting bullet holes quickly and efficiently so that you can spend more time shooting your bow and less time in the shop. Now, for reference with these cam adjustments, as you move the cam away from the roller guard side, that cam is going to lean more towards the roller guard. And as you move it closer to the roller guard, it is going to lean more vertical or away from the roller guard, just based on the amount of pressure that is being pulled on the cables here. So without further ado, that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys got some valuable information out of it. And don't forget to go over to my Instagram and enter that giveaway to win yourself a new set of strings for your bow. But without further ado, that's the end of it. We'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.